GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discussion is advice. Live long and prosper.
Shall we just start right off the bat with a Las Vegas update?
Are we still talking Vegas, right?
We are.
Talking about Vegas.
Yes. You're coming to Vegas, right? Star Trek Las Vegas may take place every August, but on this show...
This is where we hang out the rest of the year.
Exactly.
The crew has been fatigued now from so many months in space, and they need to take a break. The landing party has beamed down to check out the terrain while the crew gets ready to play. They say there's only plant life living on this lovely rock, but a rodent appears wearing a vest.
Joel on True, ladies and gentlemen and good citizens. This is Gettysburg 7. We are on the floor of Star Trek Las Vegas 2015, and I'm here with the lovely and very, very directorial today. She's almost Cardassian, Terry Lynn.
That's me. I've been like a raging biatch today.
I was being nice.
I'm not really. No.
Introduce our guest.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome back John Radoff from Disruptor Beam. Disruptor Beam is the wonderful company that is now in development of and getting close to the release of Star Trek Timelines.
He's coming.
Welcome back to the G&T show.
Thank you for having me again.
How's it going? You have a big old booth, you guys. You have this big, nice, big double wide right on the corner with some really cool things.
Great
you can touch and play the game now, which is great. You can actually get in, so you get a little test to see the graphics, how that's all working. They got John Delancey to do a panel for them this week.
By the power of Delancey.
I'll tell you, to get Q involved. Well, we also know that Q is very influential in the game.
Yep.
And he really is the reason why you have been able to bring in so many of the Star Trek characters. It's not just one specific time period. You're able to play in multiple timelines, hence the name. So
wow, look how you did that.
Isn't it amazing? I got it all together. And I just wanted to ask you, so the last time we spoke last year.
Poor people's Regis and Kathy.
We are. Well, no, except you don't have the cute, it's not Regis, it's like Michael Strahan. He's got the teeth and everything.
What are you talking about?
He's so cute.
Do the interview.
He's cute. I'll do the interview. Last year, you weren't anywhere near the level of information and ability to play and test out the game that you did this year. You were working on some cards that you had. You were some basic things, and maybe a little bit of the showing them on the computer. But you had nothing hands-on like you do this year. Can you tell us kind of where you are in the status of the game and when you expect, or do you even have a release date yet?
Yeah, so we have not announced a release date yet, but we are planning to release it in the fall.
Excellent.
So it's pretty soon.
Wow. Okay.
The game's come a long way in the last year. So as you mentioned, we now have John Delancey on board. He's voicing Q in the game. Q's an important character. We've developed a lot of characters in the game. There's going to be around 100, 150 characters when we actually ship the game. Lots of ships. And as you've been seeing here at the convention, people are able to play the game. So probably 1,000 plus people have actually gotten to play the game and try it out here at the convention, which is great because people have been able to see what we've been doing, but also great for us because this has kind of been like a few days of hands-on testing to see what kind of things people run into. So, yeah, it's come a long way.
So you've actually been able, well, of course you would. You would be able to figure out what is going right, what's going wrong, kind of deal with that on the fly, just as you would if you were a little bit live. That's really, really great news. Now, a lot of our listeners, because we have picked up so many from last year, which is wonderful for us and wonderful for you, tell them a little bit about Timelines itself. First and foremost, it's a free-to-play game. Is it browser-based?
You can play it in a web browser, but we think of it as primarily a mobile game, so you can play it on any iOS device, iPad, iPhone. You can play it on an Android device as well. So it's a game about a space-time crisis that's happened, that's flung together all the different eras and timelines of Star Trek. So animated series, original series, Voyager, TNG, Enterprise, most of the movies that have been created, they're all brought together in this, and you can kind of put together your dream team crew from all those different eras. So if you ever wanted to see what it would be like to have Janeway and Spock and Data all in the same crew, for example, you could see how they would solve problems.
That's really, really cool. And I really like the trick that you guys have used to be able to bring all those characters into one place, allow the player to kind of access those images and that ideas where you can't really do that in any other game, and you really wouldn't want to. And that's what I think is so fun, is that timelines, there's a couple games here at the convention. Everybody knows that Star Trek Online's here. Everybody knows that Alien Domain's here, but everything is different. And the one thing about timelines that makes you so different is that ability to play with those characters that you don't get to play in any other game.
Oh, in general, right. Yeah, in this game, you're a Starfleet captain, and you get to command your ship, but it's going to be a ship populated by a crew of characters that you have grown up loving and watching in all these different series. And I think that's what's special about it. It's the fact that you get to kind of do your own mashup of all this awesome, history and character development that's gone on in Star Trek, but you're also doing it with other people, which is an important aspect of this game too, because you're in a big galaxy full of millions of other people that are going to be playing it the same way. So they're also creating their dream team crews, and then you're going to form fleets together, and you're going to go off in the galaxy, and you're going to pick sides in conflicts, and some fleets, for example, will be all about the Federation. Some fleets might want to support the Terran Empire because they're thrown together in the whole timeline as well. So yeah, you're going to be able to do all these scenarios that I know as I was growing up with Star Trek, I would always be doing the what if scenarios in my mind of like, what if, that's kind of what I like about some of my favorite episodes too, like Tapestry, for example. Like, there's this whole what if of like, what if Picard had done something a little bit different in his career? So they showed you what would happen. He became an astrophysicist instead of a starship captain. And what does that mean? Like, how can you actually affect stories and character development, things like that? That's another thing I should mention in the game as well. You mentioned all the characters. We're also allowing you to pull from all the different versions of those characters. So Picard is a good example. You could actually play with Tapestry Picard, for example, and have the astrophysicist in your crew. You could play with Locutus of Borg. Like, he could be on your ship. You could have a Borg ship.
I'm intrigued thinking about the idea of Kirk with a first officer of Kira.
You could try that, absolutely.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, actually, I would. That'd be really cool.
Sparks, and I don't mean romantic. I mean
these Type A personalities, button heads.
Or Cisco with Data. I'm loving thinking about that.
I want to say that as a new player, what would they expect to see when they first get into the game?
Well, when you first start playing, and by the way, this is something lots of people have been trying here right at the convention. We've been showing this. You start out, and it's right in the midst of the space-time continuum crisis that I'm describing. So it starts out where you're a Starfleet captain. You are in charge of a Constellation-class starship. You've been sent on a science mission into Romulan space to research the anomaly. The Romulans are escorting you. You're not there secretly. They're there. I don't want to give too much away. It doesn't quite go as expected when you show up. Romulans being Romulans, after all, don't quite do what you were expecting. But I'll say one other thing. You also meet James T. Kirk in the course of this mission.
Now,
So
how many people work on your team?
So Disruptor Team is almost 50 people, and this game is more than half the company. So yeah, it's a lot of people.
Well, you certainly have a great presence here at Star Trek. You have such a great presence here at the Star Trek convention, and I wanted to say that your presence here has been most professional as well. I mean, the setup over there is great. The hands-on over there is great. You've got a really great marketing team that has a passion for the game that is absolutely apparent. And I think another question that some of our listeners have been, because it's a free-to-play game, one of the things that there seems to be, especially people who are not quite used to mobile gaming, is how do you make your money?
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of versions of what free-to-play means. So when you say free-to-play game, it's almost doesn't mean anything now because there's different approaches that different companies use to that. So for us, the main way that we make money is when you want to collect different characters from different eras, and you have particular types of crews that you want to put together, because we sell packs of characters and packs of equipment, and you open up those packs and you try to get the characters that you want. So that's how we make money. Same for starships too. Starships, we sell starship schematics for the types of ships you want. You don't need all the ships. You don't need all the characters. You can play the game paying $0, and you can do plenty of things in it. Are you going to have as much fun? I don't think so, because when I play the game, I'm going to want to have the crew you were talking about. I want to see Cisco and Data together. I want to see Spock working for Picard. I want to see what all these different crew structures are like, and that's where the real fun of it is.
So one question I have. So are they locked in? So Will Riker, is he always like in the first officer role, or can you make him a captain, that kind of thing?
Well, you're the captain of the ship.
Okay.
You, the player, kind of narratively are the role of the captain. So it's not like you're going to promote any of these other characters.
Okay.
However, you can make them do different things. So if you don't want to use Will Riker as number one, you can put him in a different
Security.
role. Some people think it's hilarious to get Locutus aboard and plug him into the bartender role on 10 Forward. For some reason, people do that all the time. So you can do whatever you want and slot him however you want. And
Wait a minute, they have a bartender role?
Yep. Oh, it's an important job. It's an important job.
Awesome.
Data as a bartender.
A room full of Rikers?
You could do that too.
Will Riker, Thomas Riker.
Or you could do different versions of the same character if you wanted to have Locutus, Vintner Picard, Tapestry Picard, Captain Picard all together.
Cool. That's really fun.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I love. It's just so different from everything else that I've seen out there so far. The graphics are really beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Love
we've got great artists.
Really great artists. The ships are great, because to be honest with you, that's what I've seen so far. Has been the ships on the. You've got access to pretty much all of the canon ships. Yes. Mm-hmm. Tell people how they're going to. Do you get to see your own character, or is it you only see the ship you're captain?
Yeah. So the game is more of a strategy game. So it's about your role in space and the ship you have and your crew complement, and then using that crew on away team missions and starship battles that you end up finding yourself in. It's not one of these games which is about like first person running around a planet. Right. So in that sense, it's very different than Star Trek Online or World of Warcraft or all these other MMORPGs. What we've tried to do is bring in a lot of the gameplay that those games have in terms of character development and some storytelling, but really repackage it in a way that makes it accessible to a very large number of mobile game players. Because when you put it on a phone or a tablet, you have to be able to play it in a different way as well. So this is a game that you have to be able to take out your phone in a line at Starbucks, do something meaningful. Your cappuccino shows up, you can put it away, and it's going to be fine. You can't do that in an MMO.
I was exactly going to ask that. When I'm in a boring meeting at work, I'll be able to take it out.
You can do that,
you just admit,
You could be
I would never do that. I was using that as an example.
Yep. You could be at work, and for all they know, you're on Evernote, but you're actually in Star Trek universe.
There you go. There's some advice on how to play. Star Trek Timelines is sneak out your phone while you're in a meeting. No. So you're the good news.
Nobody would, right?
Yeah, well, everybody would. That's the beauty of it.
Or on the train, or like you were saying.
The people who commute, that's a big thing, and especially in LA. I used to have a 2-hour commute. I would have loved something like this to be able to play
it on the bus, play it on the train, play it on wherever.
That'd be great. So, is there anything else that you want us to know, or our listeners to know about the forthcoming release of the game?
So if people are interested in it, they should check out our website. We have something called the Bridge Crew program, and we will be very soon offering access to some people to start playing and trying the game. Testing with Star Trek fans is really important to us. So us being at the convention here, by the way, to us it's not a marketing event. It's actually an opportunity to put the product in people's hands and see what people like and what they don't like. So we've just learned like a ton just being here in terms of how people interact and what some of the, it's not perfect yet. We found places where it isn't perfect that we want to fix.
That's what beta is for. It's all tweak.
And the beta will be for the same reason.
What's the vocal feedback you're getting from the people that are stopping by your booth?
I think the most consistent thing people see is that the love of Star Trek that appears in the game, because a lot of game companies tend to have a game they've created, and then after that game has already been made, they go out and they get licenses and they reskin the game for the license. This is a game that was built from the ground up for Star Trek.
Well, and a great example of that is I can't think of their name, but they did Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then Arkham Knight. Their love of Batman comes through the same way your love. And this is really, as a Star Trek fan, for a long time, Star Trek gaming has not been. The console games didn't do a good job. Star Trek Online 7 years ago. Now you guys are coming. You're starting to see the fans create the games that honor the IP.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I grew up with Star Trek and love it, and to me, I just feel lucky that so many people like the same stuff I do, because if they didn't, I probably wouldn't get to do this.
And thank you to JJ for introducing a whole new generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Generation with a whole bunch of cell phones and tablets and
places. Walking around with cell phones.
Hey, and this is a game that we're really, really hoping that if you are one of those 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds with a cell phone, you'll be playing it, and your parents will be playing it, and because I think now that we're getting to 50 years on Star Trek, it's intergenerational. So I want to be able to see families playing together. I mean, that Star Trek can really bring people together in an interesting way that few other stories can. So I hope that happens.
And it's nice to hear that it's going to have a kind of a multiplayer aspect to it as well, that you'll be able to contact and communicate with other players in the game,
yes.
combine and form fleets, which is something that's really a unique thing in mobile gaming and in just, the up-to-date technology as well. How would people and how do people communicate in the game?
Well, they can chat with each other and send messages to each other. So there's communication features that you would see in other online games, but we've kind of restructured it so that it's easier to do within a mobile game. But you form fleets together. So if you want to take on a board cube, usually that's hard to do on your own, for example. So you're going to have to get a group of your friends together, form a fleet, and decide what to do. But by the way, in Star Trek Timelines, it's not just about defeating the board cube, it's about how you do it and what kind of ethical decisions do you make. Maybe you'll actually think that the Borg are okay in certain respects and you want to bring some of that Borg technology onto your ship. Maybe there's a bigger role for the Borg in this universe. Maybe you're going to decide that, hey, the Terran Empire had it right all along. We got to go with them if we want to solve this problem.
Very interesting.
Because of Ensign or Lieutenant Monroe.
Right.
Yeah,
we know that. Oh, see, now there's a deal.
Or maybe you want to work for the Romulans. You could do that too. The Romulans are not very friendly to you at the beginning of this game, I'll say, but
they would be to me because I am a Romulan.
He's got green blood. That is for darn sure. Well, that's really kind of interesting and very and nice to know. However, there are those people who are a bit standoffish when it comes to gaming with others, especially others. They may not know at first. How does a solo player handle the game when they first come in?
So you're putting your crew together and you're solving away team missions and you're getting into starship battles. It's very easy to ease into the multiplayer aspects of the game. I think once people are playing it, they're going to want to form up groups with other players. It's not something we force you to do, but it's going to allow you to do really awesome things within the game. It's not like a heavily twitch or hand-eye coordination game. So if you're a gamer who feels like your discomfort of grouping with other people is because some guy is going to be yelling at you because you're not healing fast enough or doing whatever it is that you're supposed to do, it's not a game like that. There's not going to be this high-pressure environment of performance. It's about making decisions. You're a Starfleet captain in this game, for example. So in a starship battle, it's not like you're the guy aiming the phaser or navigating the ship. Captains don't do that. They delegate that to their bridge crew and have them do it. So really it's about you choosing how you want to put your crew together and utilizing the capabilities that those characters bring together. It's not about you proving that you're the best at aiming.
And one of the things you were just touching on the question beforehand was about utilizing and making the best decision. It really is a strategy game in that way.
It is. We call it a strategy role-playing game because there's a storytelling aspect where you're making story decisions and deciding how to resolve different kinds of situations. But it's overall a strategy game because it's really about the big galaxy map and all the factions and all the different places you can go and the way different factions have affected different areas of the map. So, for example, if one area of the map is dominated by the Terran Empire, well, that's going to have a different story happening there than if you flip it back in control of the Federation. So that's where I think a lot of the fun is going to come. It's going to be like you and your fleet deciding, like, who do we want to support in this? You sort of start out on the Starfleet side, but you're going to be tempted to go different ways, and you'll have the opportunity to do so.
That's really cool.
I'm just thinking of Bill Ducott as a first officer.
Well, there you go. You could put together a Cardassian crew.
Cardassian Romulan crew? I'm in heaven.
Populated by tailors, of course.
Just plain, simple tailors.
They would look fabulous. Well, John, thank you again so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And again, the best of luck with the release of Star Trek
Thank
Timelines. I know we won't be able to talk to you again probably until right before. Hopefully we can talk to you right when it launches.
Happy to talk to you
That would
anytime.
be great.
Even around Halloween, when we have our 24-hour live marathon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're doing a 24-hour show.
We are happy to talk anytime.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Where can people do it? It's a Disruptor Beam, and they can go to disruptorbeam.com.
They can.
And do you have a separate one for Star Trek Timelines yet?
You'll find there's only 2 games that we have, Game of Thrones Ascent and Star Trek Timelines.
Okay.
Really easy to find Star Trek if you just go to the website.
There you go.
Yep.
Thanks so much for joining us.
So much.
And we'll talk to you at
pleasure.
Halloween.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Okay.
Until then, you guys, have a good one. Live long and prosper.
Joe Lontrue, citizens.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Andrew Allen, Grethor, and 5 Year Mission. This has been a Busy Little Beaver production.
Some dude walks out, proceeds to explain what it's all about. I sure want to leave. I think you'd agree, but we cannot leave till we find out what it's all about. It's all make-believe, nothing is permanent down here. It's just an amusement park. Bones is now alive, so it's okay for him to say, I'm a doctor, not a shish kebab. Apparently it's okay if we trust an unknown race who can read any one of our thoughts. So be careful what you wish for in this land of dreams come true.